I was taking my daughter somewhere in an Uber when I realized the driver was my ex from 5 years ago. We both recognized each other instantly. After a horribly awkward moment, I decided to just break the silence. "Are you married?" My daughter looked up at me. "Mommy, do you know him?" I patted her little head. "Yeah, sweetie. He's your dad." I never would have imagined that the one time I called an Uber, the driver would be Cole Gordon. After my daughter and I got in the back and I gave him the last 4 digits of my phone number, I saw the driver's eyes go wide in the rearview mirror. Clearly, he recognized me. I recognized him, too. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife, so I spoke up. Long time no see. You changed careers, huh?" The last time I saw Cole Gordon was at a nightclub in New York City. Back then, my friend Amy was working there. I'd asked her to set me up with someone clean and good-looking because I wanted to have a baby. And then I met Cole. He just grunted an uncomfortable yeah. My daughter, Summer, piped up, "Mommy, do you know him?" "Yeah. He's your dad." Cole looked like he'd been struck by lightning. "What did you just say?" Summer's eyes were like saucers. "But you said we were taking the train to find Daddy. How did we find him in a car?" I turned to Summer first. "Hold on a sec, sweetie." Then I turned back to Cole. "Are you married?" "No. I'm a waitress, you're a driver. Seems like we'd make a decent match. Want to try making a life together? I mean, look. The kid's already taken care of." Summer just sat there, bewildered and speechless. I kept going. "We can get a DNA test. And if you're not interested, no big deal." I was heading to the train station to go back to my hometown for a blind date anyway. "So? What do you think?" The car fell into a dead silence. I'm sure Cole never thought that little fling from 5 years ago would come back to hit him with this kind of drama. His eyes fell on the little girl, whose features really did look just like his when he was a kid. Then he thought about what I'd said, about going back home for a blind date, about building a life with some other guy, about my daughter calling another man dad. He didn't want that. Finally, Cole spoke. "The train station, are we still going?" A smile spread across my face. "The steering wheel's in your hands. It's up to you if we go to Union Station or City Hall. You'll have to change the destination in the app." "Oh, right." And so began our marriage, with both of us having our own agendas, and both of us seemingly happy with the arrangement. When Amy saw me walk into our apartment that evening, she did a double take. "I thought you were going to NYC. You're back already?" I just dangled our brand new marriage license in front of her. Amy grabbed it and flipped it open. A freshly issued certificate for Jade Jennings and Cole Gordon. "What the hell, girl?" So I told her everything that had happened. "But isn't he supposed to get to Chicago in 3 days? Why is he driving for Uber?" See, Amy had set me up with someone else 5 years ago. But in a ridiculously cliché twist of fate, I ended up sleeping with the wrong guy. Twice. A few days ago, Amy told me that her company's new general manager was parachuting in from corporate, the chairman's son. She showed me a picture. I recognized him immediately. It was the guy I'd slept with by mistake. Lately, I had been thinking about finding a stepdad for Summer anyway. Some kids at her preschool had been teasing her for not having a father. I know what it's like to be gossiped about and picked on by classmates, and I didn't want my daughter to go through the same thing. Given Cole's family background, letting him know he had a child would give Summer another person to rely on in the future. So, my plan for today was actually to go to New York to find him and, at the very least, tell him about Summer. Running into him like this was a total surprise, so I had to improvise. "Oh, by the way," I told Cole that Summer and I live in the staff dorms provided by the Hearth. I need to move out tomorrow. The Hearth was the restaurant my mom owned. When I called to tell her I got married today, she blocked me. I'll have to go talk to her tomorrow and get our stories straight. "Where are you moving?" "To some place Cole's renting." I shook my head. After we got the license, he offered to drive us home. Since you and I live here, I gave him the address of that little 2-bedroom near the main restaurant. Then he said he just got to Chicago and hadn't found a place yet, so he asked if he could move in. Of course, I said yes. It's a perfect chance for him and Summer to bond. Amy looked at me with a complicated expression. I don't even know what to say. I guess, I hope it all works out. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Cole had come to Chicago early and was bored out of his mind, so he asked his friend Sean to find him something to do. Sean's solution was to sign him up as an Uber driver. You said you were bored, right? I got you a Toyota. Go take some fares. It's a good way to get to know Chicago. Now, Sean was asking Cole, so? How many rides did you get? Cole just showed him the marriage license. Dude, what the hell? The 2-bedroom apartment was from an old building buyout. At 430 square feet, it was small enough to pass for staff housing. Yesterday, I made sure to coach Summer. Remember, right now, Mommy is just a regular waitress, and this is the apartment our nice boss gave us. Summer didn't get it. Why do we have to lie? We have to play along for your future, sweetie. I wasn't sure what Cole was up to, but if he wanted to play the part of a down-on-his-luck Uber driver, I was happy to play along with him. It never hurts to be on good terms. When Cole showed up, he was in character, too. The clothes he pulled from his suitcase were all brand new, but they were the cheap, $100 kind. Summer and I took the master bedroom, leaving him with the tiny 75-square-foot second bedroom. The place is a little small. Hope you don't mind. The rich boy didn't seem to mind at all. It's great. I don't need much space for just myself. I was a little surprised. Are you free later? I asked. We should go to the hospital for a DNA test. If we're going to do this, I'd rather not have any misunderstandings between us. He nodded. At the hospital, when it was time to pay for the DNA test, Cole rushed to the counter. He very unsubtle revealed his Venmo balance of just over $1,000. As we were leaving, Cole suddenly asked, "Isn't Summer in preschool?" I was in the back seat, holding a sleeping Summer. She's supposed to be, but last week some kid called her a fatherless brat and pushed her down. Both her knees were all scraped up. When I went to pick her up, the other parent was this huge guy. I couldn't win the fight, verbal or physical, so I just took Summer out of school for a week. I figured I'd either find her a dad or find her a new school. Cole was silent for a moment. It's good for her to rest. I'll take her to school next week. In my arms, Summer's eyelashes fluttered and her little hand clenched into a fist. I held her a little tighter. After that, Cole said he'd drop me off at the hearth but got confused when he saw the 4 locations, 3 branches and a main restaurant, on his GPS. I work at the main one. He saved the address. Okay, got it. When we got there, Cole, ever the dedicated driver, said he had to go pick up more fares, and we went our separate ways. Before walking into the restaurant, I took a deep breath and whispered to Summer, "Remember to put in a few good words for me in there." Summer whined, "Mommy, I have to act and say nice things? This is tiring. I'll buy you a whole case of blind boxes." "Thank you, Mommy. I'm not tired anymore." I headed for the kitchen. Laura Jennings, my mother, was in the middle of taking inventory. She saw me and shot me a look that could kill. She dragged me into the changing room. "Jade Jennings. Can you please have some kind of plan for your life? You have a kid on a whim, you get married on a whim, to an Uber driver you just met? Do you think you're still a little kid playing house? I'm 52 years old. I'm not a miracle worker. I don't have the time or the energy to play along with your games anymore." I opened my mouth, wanting to explain who Cole was, wanting to share my brilliant improvisation. But the words got stuck in my throat. Laura was always scolding me for not having a plan. Years ago, she was unknowingly the other woman. My biological father came from a wealthy family. Other than a $50,000 monthly check, there was no contact. Laura used that money to invest in real estate and open her restaurants. Don't be mad, Grandma. Daddy's actually a nice person, Summer said, tugging on Laura's hand. Laura frowned. Why are you already calling him Daddy? Mommy told me to. Her sharp eyes landed on me. Is it the same guy from 5 years ago? I nodded. After a long silence, Laura finally spoke. Set up a time for him to meet me. And tell him to eat at the hearth from now on. We have plenty of locations. Driving for Uber doesn't pay much, he should save where he can. I nodded, then added, Mom, I told him I'm just a waitress at the hearth. Laura choked, then grilled me. Did he know you were a waitress before you got married? Does he know you have a car and a condo? I only showed him the small 2-bedroom, and I told him our nice boss let us live there. And he married you knowing all that? I nodded. Laura was quiet for another moment before giving her final verdict. You handle it. She opened the changing room door to find a crowd of employees huddled outside. What are you all doing bunched up here? Get back to work. I looked at the staff, who were all exchanging glances. You heard her, right? So, you'll help me with my little act. Later, while I was out with Summer buying blind boxes, I got a text from Amy. You're not gonna believe this. Cole just showed up at the office, a full-on surprise attack. She sent a candid photo she'd taken. The man in the picture was in a sharp suit, a far cry from the cheap casual wear he'd had on this morning. He just finished a meeting. The senior management is throwing him a welcome dinner tonight. I don't think he can get out of it. I replied, Are you going? Amy was a department head, a mid-level position. Yeah. An idea quickly formed in my mind. I opened my chat with Cole. My mom just told me she'd like to have you over for dinner tonight. Are you free? It'll be at the main restaurant. If he came, it meant that he at least cared about this marriage and Summer on some level. If he didn't, the guilt might be useful leverage in the future. Mommy, I got the secret rare one. Summer shouted happily. Just then, I got a reply from Cole. Of course, that's a great idea. But could we make it a little later? Around 7? I was hoping to get a few more fares during the evening rush. I replied with a simple okay. My palms started to sweat. Looks like Mommy got a secret rare one, too. That little flutter of excitement vanished when I learned from Amy that Cole had moved his welcome dinner from 6 o'clock to 5. I get that he's in a special position, but being lied to with lame excuses didn't feel great. Whatever. It's not like I wasn't lying to him, too. At 6:45 p.m., Cole walked into the main branch of the hearth. We sat at a small 4-person table. I was across from Summer, and Cole was across from Laura. Once the food arrived, Laura put on a smile. After some polite small talk, she launched into the 3 soul-crushing questions. How much do you make a month? Where are you from? How many people are in your family? Cole had his story ready. I just started driving for Uber. On a good day, I can make 400 or 500. On a bad day, maybe 1 or 2. My hometown is a small place near NYC. My parents are still there, and I have an older sister. He sounded sincere, almost rustic. Laura nodded. Well, since you and Jade are married, we should arrange a time for our families to meet properly. We need to discuss the future. A flicker of awkwardness crossed Cole's calm face. Ma'am, that might be a bit difficult right now. My family and I are on tense terms at the moment. I figured that was his excuse for not revealing his identity. Laura's tone was knowing. All right, we can talk about it later then. Then she changed the subject. Cole, I've been working at the hearth for decades, and I'm on good terms with the owner. I've already talked to the kitchen staff. From now on, whenever you're tired from driving, you can stop by any of our locations, just give them my name, and your meal is on the house. You young people are under a lot of pressure. Every penny counts. Cole looked genuinely surprised and flattered. "Oh, ma'am, I couldn't possibly." Laura waved her hand. "It's nothing. We're family now." I chimed in, "Our boss is very generous. It's really no problem." Cole seemed to accept it, then said, "By the way, I have a friend who works at Brighton Academy." I told him about Summer's situation, and he spoke with the principal. They said they can make an exception and let Summer transfer. Summer, Laura, and I were all stunned. We had tried to get Summer into Brighton before, but she didn't get in, so we ended up at a public school. The teachers, the environment, and the security there are much better than her old school. It'll be better for her development. He looked from me to Summer. As for the tuition, I managed to save some money from my old job in New York. I'll cover it. Consider it my apology for being absent all these years." The table fell silent for a moment. Laura looked at me, her eyes filled with shock and questions. I nudged her leg under the table. I put on a performance of being both thrilled and hesitant. "Brighton is a great school, but isn't that asking too much? It shouldn't be a problem. My friend has some pull over there." The rest of the meal passed in a state of surface-level harmony covering a turbulent undercurrent. Afterward, Cole, ever the dedicated driver, said he had to go get a few more late-night fares. The second he was gone, Laura cornered me. "Who is this guy? Can you really get into that school just by knowing someone?" My mind was a mess, too. Forget it. It's the thought that counts. Cole didn't go pick up any late-night fares. He went to see Sean. After all, Brighton Academy was owned by Sean's family. I'm just saying, man, the DNA results aren't even back, and you're already jumping in to play dad? Cole held up the report. What do you mean they're not back? I gave an extra vial of blood and paid for a rush order. Summer Jennings is my biological daughter. After putting Summer to bed, I sat in the living room, waiting for Cole to get home. At 10:30 p.m., I finally heard the lock turn. Cole seemed surprised to see me. "Still up?" "Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about something." "What's up?" He sat down on the other end of the sofa. I chose my words carefully. "I know Brighton is really hard to get into. If it's too much trouble, we don't have to do it. We can find another school. I don't want you to owe someone a huge favor for this, or have to work too hard." I looked at him sincerely, playing the part of a concerned wife. "It's no trouble," he said, his voice gentle. "The spot is already confirmed. We can get the transfer paperwork done next week." I looked down, then said, "In that case, we should split the tuition. We're a couple, after all." The word couple seemed to startle him. He shifted uncomfortably. "Okay." The small space amplified the delicate atmosphere. I stood up. "You should get some rest. See you tomorrow." "Yeah, see you tomorrow." I went back to the master bedroom and gently closed the door. My mind drifted back to the first time I met the man on the other side of the wall. 5 years ago, I had just graduated from college. Laura wanted me to stay in New York, thinking it had more opportunities and better career prospects. But I didn't want to, partly because of someone else and partly because why would I want to be a corporate drone when I could be a boss? Then, Laura arranged for me to go on a blind date with a guy from NYC. I decided to just get pregnant. That way, there would be no more blind dates, and she wouldn't be able to make me stay in the city. Amy told me the guy she'd found for me was waiting in the third-floor stairwell. There was only one man standing there, tall and well-built. I walked up to him. "Amy sent you, right? Let's go, we're getting a room." The man looked shocked and confused. "What did you say?" The alcohol gave me courage and took away my patience. I said, "Let's get a room. Now. Stop wasting time." I practically dragged him to a hotel. My phone had been on silent. It wasn't until the middle of the night that I saw Amy's frantic messages. I had slept with the wrong guy. While he was still asleep, I went to an ATM, took out $5,000 in cash, left it on his pillow, and ran. 2 days later, at the same nightclub. Amy's phone had broken, so I was there to give her a spare. As I was leaving, I ran into the same guy from the other night. The awkwardness was so thick you could feel it. He walked up to me, a complicated look in his eyes, and asked directly, that night, why? I had nothing left to lose. I wanted to have a baby with someone. Wrong person, my bad. I tried to step around him, but he grabbed my arm. What about me? Huh? Why? Love at first sight? You probably don't believe that. He paused, his gaze honest. Fine, I was attracted to you. Is that a good enough reason? His directness left me speechless. The last time had been good. And he was definitely easy on the eyes. For some reason I'll never understand, I nodded. Afterward, he picked up his phone. Can I get your number? No need. A few days later, I left New York for good. After contacting the new school, Cole and I went to Summer's old preschool to handle the transfer paperwork. When we arrived, Cole took Summer's hand as if it was the most natural thing in the world. Summer looked up at him, then obediently wrapped her small hand around 2 of his fingers. The principal was a bit surprised to see Cole. Summer's mom, and this is? I'm Summer's father. Cole spoke up. We're here today to process our child's transfer. The principal was taken aback for a second but quickly put on a professional smile. Oh, of course. Just fill out these forms here. Cole took the paperwork, and I handed over the documents I'd brought. The principal was probably trying to ease the tension. Summer is a very sweet girl. It's normal for kids to squabble a bit. Our teachers handled it right away, and the other parent did apologize later. Summer's mom was a bit emotional at the time. She looks gentle, but she didn't back down in that argument at all. Those nails, ahem. Anyway, it all got sorted out. It's all for the kids, you know. Totally understandable. Her words were like a needle, popping the lie I'd told about not being able to win the fight. Cole looked up. What about her nails? I turned and started fussing with Summer's collar. The principal realized she'd said too much. Oh, well, it was a bit chaotic. Summer's mom got emotional and accidentally scratched the other parent a few times. But the other parent started it. Oh, I see. Cole didn't ask any more questions, and the principal didn't say another word. Once we were in the car, Cole deliberately repeated, couldn't win the fight, huh? I let out a couple of nervous laughs. Suddenly, Summer came to my defense. Daddy, don't think Mommy is mean. She was just protecting me. Her manicure got all messed up, and it hurt for a long time. Cole's eyes drifted to my hands. I'd removed my acrylics the day of the fight, so there was nothing to see now. I just stared out the window. A girl's gotta look good sometimes. Cole let out a soft mm. You were all alone back then. It must have been hard. Life fell into a rhythm. Summer started at Brighton, Cole started his new job as GM, and I went back to doing accounting at the Hearth. Amy complained to me that Cole had been a force of nature since he took over. He was holding one-on-one meetings with employees at every level. Today was her turn. She said his tone was cold, his questions were sharp, and he had her sweating bullets. She asked me, is Cole always this intense? Not at all. Just yesterday, he shyly asked me where he should hang his underwear to dry. Amy, I have no words. I was at one of the branch locations doing the month-end inventory when I saw Cole walk in. I quickly ducked into the kitchen. The manager got the message and promised, don't worry, I'll play my part. Cole found a seat by the window and ordered a pepper steak rice bowl. He ordered by scanning a QR code, so he paid up front. The manager brought him his food personally. First time here, son? She asked warmly. If you like it, come back again. Cole smiled. I've been to the main location before, but this is my first time at this one. Then he added, my wife, Jade Jennings, works over there. The manager's face lit up. Oh, so you're Jade's husband. Her mom told us you don't have to pay when you eat at the hearth. I'd still feel bad, Cole said. Are her mom and the owner really close? Of course. There would be no hearth without Laura. The manager added, but the owner is great to all of us. She's always giving us coupons for our friends and family. Cole nodded in agreement. And she provides housing for you all, right? That's right, the manager said. Finally, she said, enjoy your meal. I've got to get back to work, and ended the conversation. I breathed a sigh of relief. This whole lie felt like it could fall apart at any second. Under Cole's new leadership, his company entered a period of intense overtime. Amy texted me, Cole pays for overtime and orders dinner, but I'm still so annoyed. And guess where he orders from? Coming from Amy, there was only one possible answer. The hearth. Yup. I felt a little flicker of pride. Since he was putting in the effort, I figured I should return the favor. When it was time to pick up Summer from school, I made sure Cole was stuck at work. I drove my mom's Mercedes to pick her up. If anyone saw, I'd just say it was the boss's car. It was a private preschool, after all. I didn't want Summer to be looked down on. Summer seemed especially happy today. Mommy, can we go back to our old place? I want to get some of my figurines. Sure, sweetie. And after that, we can get some groceries. Let's have breakfast at home tomorrow. Up until now, I'd been eating at the hearth, Summer at school, and Cole on his own. I'm a decent cook, but I hadn't made him a single thing since we got married. So, I decided to make him breakfast tomorrow morning. A simple bowl of noodle soup, easy to make, but hard to master. The pork bone broth was crystal clear, the thin noodles were perfectly al dente, and it was topped with fresh green onions and a few slices of char siu I'd snagged from the kitchen. When Cole came out of his room, he stopped short, surprised to see 3 steaming bowls of noodle soup on the coffee table. Morning, I said. Wash up and come eat. It was a rare moment of domestic peace. You're an amazing cook, Cole commented. I grinned. Of course I am. Suddenly, Summer spoke up. Mommy, Daddy, I want to go to the movies today. My friends at school said there's a new cartoon that's really good. Cole had been so busy lately. I heard him on the phone in his room until 2 a.m. last night. I jumped in. Daddy's been really busy. How about we go some other time? We can go. Cole, however, agreed immediately. This is the first time Summer's asked to go out and do something. Of course, we have to go. The exhaustion was still visible in his eyes, but his commitment to his daughter's first request was just as clear. Okay, then. There's a movie theater just a half-mile from here. We can walk. That evening, Cole came home early as promised. On the way to the theater, an excited Summer walked between us. She held my hand with one hand and Cole's with the other, chattering away about all the fun things that happened at school. Cole listened patiently, chiming in here and there. He looked so gentle. I couldn't help but think of Amy's complaints and smiled to myself. What are you smiling about, Mommy? Summer asked. Nothing. I just feel really happy right now. Cole really was exhausted. Less than 20 minutes into the movie, I felt a slight weight on my right shoulder. I turned my head. In the flickering light of the screen, I saw Cole's eyes were closed. He was fast asleep. Summer noticed, too. She leaned in and whispered, Mommy, is Daddy sleeping? I nodded and whispered back, Daddy's very tired. Let's let him rest. Summer nodded understandingly and went back to watching her movie. When the lights came on at the end, Cole woke with a start. Our eyes met, and he looked a little embarrassed. I've been really tired lately. I just smiled. It's okay. Let's go home and rest. On that ordinary night, we were just an ordinary couple, walking our daughter home. After a period of calm, the unexpected hit. Cole went to take a shower, leaving his phone charging on the sofa. Suddenly, the screen lit up with a message from someone named Sean. "Did you know Jade Jennings applied to Brighton Academy before? Let's talk at the Amber Room, tomorrow at noon." Oh, crap. I quickly texted Amy. "Amy, OMG, what are you gonna do?" Me, Summer may have a mom who's pretending to be poor, but she has a godmother who isn't. Me, I'll cover your mortgage next month. Amy, say no more. Prayer hands emoji. The private rooms at the Amber Room were separated by screens, offering zero soundproofing. Your daughter's clothes, her habits, the way she acts at Brighton, none of it fits the child of a waitress. And those blind boxes she has? Several of them are secret rare or limited editions. Those aren't cheap. Is Jade Jennings really just a waitress? Once I'd heard enough, Amy and I slipped out, bought a new blind box with a flashy logo on the bag, and then went back to loiter by the restaurant entrance until we ran into Cole and Sean. Cole started to head back inside, but I called out to him. I linked my arm with Amy's and glanced at Sean. "And who is this?" Seeing no way out, Cole just made the introduction. "This is Sean, the friend who helped with Summer's transfer." "Oh," I said, then introduced my own accomplice. "This is Amy, my best friend and Summer's godmother." Amy smiled brightly. "Mr. Gordon, a pleasure." Seeing that Amy wasn't about to blow his cover, Cole relaxed slightly. "A pleasure." His eyes fell on the bag in my hand. "What's that?" Amy got Summer another blind box. Summer just loves these little things, and Amy spoils her rotten, always buying them for her. Cole looked at Amy. "You shouldn't have." "Oh, please." "It's my pleasure." Then Amy added, "Besides, working at Polaris pays pretty well, you know?" Polaris was the Gordon family's company. At her comment, Sean's eyes went wide. With all four of us hiding something and my objective achieved, I made up an excuse and dragged Amy away. That night, the lights in the living room and master bedroom were off before I heard Cole come home. The next morning, he left early for work again. Amy filled me in. Cole had given her a major project and promised her a bonus calculated at the highest rate. This is a straight-up bribe. And I'm taking it. I'm taking this bribe. I couldn't help but laugh at Cole's little maneuver. Clearly, this charade couldn't last forever, but neither of us wanted to be the first one to blink. When I went to the hearth today, Laura pulled me aside. "A company has been placing huge catering orders with us lately." The look on Laura's face wasn't great, and I had a bad feeling. I looked them up. The company's owner is named Gordon. I gave her a weak smile. Right. I probably, maybe, should have mentioned that sooner. Laura pressed, "You and Cole are really married, right?" "Don't worry about that. We went to City Hall." I understood her concern. "We can't keep this up for much longer anyway. His friend from Brighton knows about the family info I put on the original application. And Amy works at his company." Laura rubbed her temples. "Don't drag this out." "I know." Around noon, I got a text from Cole. "My sister is coming to Chicago next week. She wants to meet you and Summer. Didn't you say you were on bad terms with your family?" A moment later, he replied, "My sister and I are close. It's just that the rest of the family wants us to be on bad terms." Sensing some juicy corporate gossip, I did a quick search online. Cole's sister, Claire Gordon, had started at the company 10 years ago and worked her way up from the bottom to CEO. I also saw some tabloids about a sibling power struggle and how Cole was being sidelined. But based on Cole's own attitude, that didn't seem to be the case. The next day, making sure Cole was busy, I took the Mercedes to pick up Summer. I had some time before school let out, so I popped into the dessert shop next door. As I was paying, a calm female voice spoke beside me. "Excuse me, could you recommend something that's not too sweet? It's my first time here." I turned my head. The woman next to me had a sharp bob, wore sunglasses, and carried herself with an air of competence. You could try their lime mochi bites. They're refreshing and not too rich. Those look good. The woman nodded and asked the clerk for a box. She then gestured to my purchase. What's that? Strawberry tarts. My daughter and I love them, but they are pretty sweet. Her tone was casual. How old is your daughter? 4.5. She goes to Brighton Academy next door. What a coincidence. I'm heading there, too. Walk with me? We chatted as we walked to the preschool gate, where a number of parents were already waiting. Just then, a familiar figure hurried toward us. It was Sean. Claire, what are you doing here? My heart suddenly started racing. The woman slowly took off her sunglasses, a sly smile on her face. Hello, Jade Jennings. I'm Claire Gordon, Cole's sister. Weren't the pictures of Claire Gordon online with long hair? Didn't Cole tell me she was coming tomorrow? Is staging surprise attacks a shared family trait? The delicious but pricey desserts in my hands suddenly felt like they weighed a ton. Even though Cole and I had both gotten lazy with our playing poor act, we hadn't actually torn down the facade. Oh well. Might as well roll with it. So you're his sister. It's so nice to finally meet you. Cole told me you weren't coming until tomorrow. She smiled. I wanted to come early and surprise you all. Well, it's definitely a surprise. Sean, seeing the awkwardness of the situation, made an excuse and scurried away. The school bell rang. Mommy. Summer spotted me immediately and ran into my arms. Then she noticed the pretty stranger standing next to me. Summer, say hi to your aunt. Hi, Auntie, Summer said politely. Claire smiled warmly and nodded. Hello, Summer. Claire, why don't you come over to our place for a bit? I offered. Sure, I'd love to. Steeling myself, I led Claire to the black Mercedes. Nice car, she commented. Huh, just borrowed the boss's car to make a good impression. My phone buzzed with a text from Cole. I had no idea my sister was coming early. I stared at the screen for a moment, then just typed back 6 periods. By the time we got home, Cole was already there. After some awkward pleasantries, it was getting late. I asked, Claire, would you like to eat here or go out? Claire didn't hesitate. Let's eat in. Cole told me you're a great cook. Cole and I can go get groceries. What would you two like to eat? As they were about to leave, I grabbed a jacket for Cole. It looks like it might rain. You should wear this. Cole looked a little surprised, then glanced at the overcast sky. Good idea, he said, putting it on. He looked touched. I felt a little guilty. Because in the jacket pocket was Summer's smartwatch, which was currently on an open call with my phone. That's right, I wanted to know what they were going to talk about. After some small talk, they got to the part one was waiting for. Are you serious about Jade? Of course. 5 years ago, she walks up and tells me to get a room. 5 years later, she walks up and asks me to get married, complete with an adorable daughter. She's so alive, so direct, a little reckless, but with this strange, unshakable strength. Claire's tone was a mix of approval and teasing. Just don't mess her around. Cole chuckled. I won't. Besides, my wife, my daughter, and my job are all in Chicago now. I'm not going back to New York to fight with you over anything. I hung up. I'd heard enough. Everything went smoothly after that. After dinner, Claire gave Summer the gift she'd brought, a small gold locket. Summer loved her beautiful, generous aunt and gave her a kiss on the cheek as thanks. After Claire left and Summer was asleep in her room, it was just the two of us. Cole had just finished mopping the floor. I sat down on the sofa and spoke up. I want to know more about your family. Okay. He put the mop away, washed his hands, and sat down beside me. My sister and I were mostly raised by our grandmother. My mom passed away when I was young, and my dad's focus was never on us. Grandma was a little old lady who loved to travel. She took us to see snow-capped mountains, deserts, grasslands, and beaches. I listened quietly, imagining how beautiful it must have been. Later, after my sister graduated from college, she wanted to start her own business. She wanted to join Polaris, right? I interrupted. His eyes showed no shock that I knew the truth, only surprise that I was the one to finally say it out loud. Right. But my dad would only give her an entry-level position. When my grandma found out, she transferred all her shares to my sister. She told me privately not to be upset that she was playing favorites, because I would have my dad's support and my sister wouldn't. I was in high school by then. I understood what she meant. I told my grandma that I didn't want to live a life of corporate backstabbing and power struggles. I preferred the way she showed us the world. After that, maybe to make it up to me, Grandma took me on a trip to Yosemite, just the two of us. We never went traveling again after that. What happened then? I asked. My sister worked her way into a top position on her own. After I graduated, my dad wanted to parachute me into a senior management role. I told him I wanted to start from the bottom, just like my sister. But I was promoted much faster than she was, and I knew it was because of him. So I went to him directly and said I'd take a management role, but not in New York. And then Cole suddenly fell silent. I was getting impatient. And then what? He tried to arrange a marriage for me. My eyes went wide, and I forgot to control my volume. You. Cole quickly covered my mouth, rushing to explain. I didn't do it. I ran. I told him no, and that if he tried to force it, I'd never set foot in New York again. His hand was still over my mouth. It smelled like fresh hand soap. He realized how awkward it was and pulled his hand away. So, when you asked me in the car that day, besides you and Summer, I was also thinking that family and responsibility could be a way to anchor myself here in Chicago. The living room fell quiet for a moment. I've told you about my family. What about yours? Cole asked softly. I remembered him telling Claire that I was direct and full of life. So I was direct. I'm an illegitimate child. But don't get me wrong, my mom didn't know he was married, I added quickly. My biological father hid the fact that he had a wife. By the time his wife showed up, my mom was already pregnant. My mom raised me on her own. I used to wonder what life would be like if I had a father. When I was 13, my biological father suddenly appeared. Without telling my mom, he took me to an amusement park. I was terrified and thrilled at the same time. My mom eventually found us. My father shamelessly told her he still had feelings for her. My mom gave him 2 slaps across the face. After that, I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. His wife showed up again. She brought people and trashed my mom's little diner. We had to shut it down, and I missed a lot of school during that time. After that, my mom rented a spot downtown, near the police station, and opened the first hearth. And as for me, I never had any expectations for the role of a father ever again. My voice was calm. After that, I thought I could be a single mom, too, but I discovered I'm nowhere near as strong as my mother. It felt like lifting a weight off my chest, but also like tearing open an old wound. A warm hand covered my clenched fist. I turned to look at him. There was no pity or contempt in his eyes. He made me a promise. I will do everything I can to be a good husband and a good father. Don't make promises you can't keep. It was a blunt thing to say, but I had to. If you ever get tired of this and want to leave, that's fine. But don't let Summer become another me. He suddenly smiled, taking my hand and placing it on his chest. I could feel his heart beating, fast and heavy. I'll never get tired of this. And I will always protect Summer. I looked him in the eye. Then remember what you said today. Because if you don't, I'll come back to haunt you. Deal, he said with a smile. The mood was charged. I leaned in and kissed him. He froze for a second, then wrapped his arms around my waist, deepening the kiss. Suddenly, the bedroom door creaked open. We sprang apart like we'd been electrocuted. Summer stood there, rubbing her eyes. "Mommy, I have to go potty." "Oh, okay, honey. Mommy will take you." This wasn't working. We definitely needed to move. Over the weekend, Claire stayed in Chicago for a couple more days. She also met Laura, and the two successful women hit it off immediately. Of course, in front of them, the game of driver and waitress continued. After Claire left, Cole told me he had a business trip coming up. I teased him. "Oh. Uber drivers have to go on business trips now?" "Yep. A passenger booked a long-haul trip to Denver. I'll be gone for 5 days." My tone was pouty. 5 days? That's so long. Cole chuckled, leaning in to whisper in my ear. "I'll try to finish my route early and come home. There's a more important passenger waiting for my services here." My smile widened. I turned his face toward me. "What kind of services?" His eyes darted away for a second before he answered with a kiss. On the third day of Cole's trip, I was at the main branch of the Hearth, going over the morning's accounts. An employee suddenly rushed in, saying someone was outside looking for me. When I saw who it was, my stomach dropped. Mr. Brooke, my biological father. And his wife, Mrs. Brooke, with their daughter, Elaine. And, from the photos I'd seen online, Cole's father, Mr. Gordon. This couldn't be good. The two families together, plus what Cole had told me about his father trying to arrange a marriage. A very bad feeling started to creep in. "Jade Jennings, you've got some nerve." Mrs. Brooks screamed, pointing at me. "Your mother sleeps with my husband, and you steal my daughter's fiancé." She lunged at me. I dodged, and she stumbled into a chair. "What, are you trying to fake an injury? You think the security cameras and the police station 50 yards away are just for decoration?" Laura was at another location. The restaurant staff all stopped what they were doing and stood behind me. I took out my phone, called Cole, and put him on speaker. His voice was cheerful, completely unaware of what was happening. "Miss me already? Your dad, and the Brooks, are here at the Hearth." There was a moment of silence from Cole, then an immediate response. "I'm on my way back. Chicago and Denver are 1,000 miles apart. The fastest he could get here was in 3 or 4 hours." Mr. Gordon just stood there, silently sizing me up. Elaine, on the other hand, looked at me with a kind of curiosity. As for Mr. Brooke, he approached me with a patronizing, calculating look, trying to negotiate. "Jade, you're my child, too. If you're willing to take the Brooke family name, we can accept this business with you and Cole. That way, the partnership between the Gordon and Brooke families can continue." The sheer absurdity of it made me laugh. "I came out of a Jennings. Why the hell would I take your name? And who the hell are the Brooks, anyway? Cole and I have a marriage certificate. The government has already accepted it." The smile vanished from Mr. Brooks' face. Suddenly, Mr. Gordon's phone rang. It looked like a call from Cole. "You found yourself a real piece of work, acting like a common shrew. This is the woman you chose? You get back here right." I let out a derisive snort, cutting Mr. Gordon off. "Mr. Gordon, do you think this is a one-sided relationship where your son just chose me? Do you think I called him to come and back me up? I just needed to know where he stood." Everyone in the room could hear me clearly. Mr. Gordon must have put his phone on speaker, because I heard Cole's voice say, "Jade's stance is my stance. I'm on my way to the airport now. I'll be back soon." Cole hung up. Mr. Gordon's face was ashen as he looked me over with a complicated expression. Maybe it was Mr. Brooks' take the Brooke name comment, or my who the hell are the Brooks, or Cole's flat-out rejection of the arranged marriage, but something in Mrs. Brooks snapped. "You little tramp. Just as trashy as your mother." She lunged at me again, but this time an employee grabbed her. At the same moment, I heard Laura's voice. You just had to cause a scene in my restaurant, didn't you? Everybody out. Laura was back, and behind her were a couple of police officers we knew. My composure finally broke. Mom. Laura came over and hugged me. It's okay. Mom's here now. Laura locked the doors, leaving the Gordons and Brooks outside. Cole had already called Sean and asked him to pick up Summer, making sure she was safe. 3 hours later, a travel-worn Cole appeared at the restaurant entrance. As soon as he opened the door, he walked straight to me. Let's go. Where are we going? To prove where I stand. He took me to the most upscale shopping mall in Chicago. Cole pulled me along, straight to a jewelry store. Pick one. What? We were standing in front of the ring counter. I knew what he meant, but I wanted to hear him say it. A wedding ring. He looked at me, his eyes burning with intensity. I know this is rushed, and it might not be as perfect as you dreamed. You can just pick one that's decent enough for now. Later, I promise I'll give you a proper proposal. A smile spread across my face. I want the one with the biggest diamond. A few moments later, the ring was on my finger. Cole had already paid. I turned to face the crowd that had followed us. I wiggled my fingers, the diamond flashing brilliantly. See this? It's a wedding ring. Oh, that's right. I forgot you were trying to set him up. I moved the ring from my ring finger to my middle finger. Then I held up my hand to show it off. Like it? Mrs. Brooks' eyes rolled back in her head, and she fainted. The Brooke family scrambled to catch her. Mr. Gordon's expression was beyond angry, it was pure, thunderous rage. Cole, you'd better think carefully about what you're doing. Is this woman really worth throwing away your future for? Cole stood his ground. Dad, what is a future? Protecting my wife and daughter, that's my responsibility. His son's defiance made Mr. Gordon's chest heave. Fine. Very fine. We'll see how long you can keep this up. The conflict was over for now. Once I'd calmed down, I felt a little worried. Your dad, is this really going to be okay? Did you notice who wasn't there? I thought of the competent woman with the short hair. Your sister. She's staging a coup back home. Mr. Gordon hadn't told Claire about any of this. With her decade of experience and talent, Claire had already built a power base within the company that could rival her father's. To keep the board of directors stable, Mr. Gordon had 2 key projects lined up for the second half of the year. One was the partnership with the Brooke family, which was now clearly dead in the water. The other? Claire was in a meeting to secure that partnership today. While Mr. Gordon was busy putting out fires in New York, Cole and I were in Chicago, peacefully planning our wedding. Then, unexpectedly, Elaine Brooke asked to meet. I'm not really sure what I want to say to you, but I felt like we needed to meet. Honestly, if I didn't marry Cole, I would have had to marry someone else. And Cole was the best option on the table. I smiled. It's okay. You can't call him your husband, but you can always call him your brother-in-law. Elaine didn't get angry. She actually laughed. I don't want to end up like my mother, living a life of endless arguments with someone I don't love. So, I'm actually kind of glad you married him. My mom was hit pretty hard by all this. It seems like she's not going to try to marry me off for a while. She paused. I guess I just wanted to thank you for saving me from being forced into a relationship that was doomed from the start. And congratulations on your marriage. I found myself thinking that Elaine was a diamond in the rough. My tone softened. I was starting to like her. Our wedding is on the 18th of next month. You're welcome to come, if you'd like. Elaine was surprised for a second, then she smiled. Okay. If I'm free, I'll be there. The wedding was held at a garden hotel on the outskirts of Chicago. There was none of the lavish excess of a New York society wedding, only the blessings of our closest friends and family, and a venue filled with flowers and laughter. Laura looked stunning in an elegant dress, chatting enthusiastically with an equally chic Claire Gordon. Amy and Sean were the maid of honor and best man. As the key witnesses and facilitators of our Uber romance, they both had an "I knew this would happen" look of pure happiness on their faces. Mr. Gordon, forced by the circumstances, had already conceded. He still looked grumpy, but he slipped Summer a red envelope with cash in it. Elaine couldn't make it, but she sent a card and a gift. Summer, dressed in a delicate little gown, looked like an angel as she carefully held the ring box. Cole knelt on one knee and, for the second time, placed the ring that symbolized forever on my finger.